blockbuster of a match, this. You get the feeling it's going to be the best game of the season so far. Saints have won 6 from 6. That's an even better start than last year when they went on to lead the league table for a record 9th time. This, though, their biggest test since beating Wigan in round 1 by 22 points to 12. Great players on both sides of the fence. Jordan Rankin, he's a match winner for Castleford. And it's going to be St Helens who will attack from left to right, who will get this Betfred Super League match round 7 underway. Lachlan Coote with the kick-off high and hanging, and underneath it is Greg Eden, and it's a fantastic chase from the kick-off. It had so much hang time that Nagama was able to effect the tackle fairly easily, and St Helens trying to pen the Castleford Tigers back inside their own half of the field for this opening set of the match. Watts gets the ball to the right-hand side, finds Rankin, who in turn finds Oliver Holmes. First appearance of the season last week against Salford for Oliver Holmes. Here's Millington back after suspension. And McShane at dummy half. The battle of the number 9s has been well documented since the moment we came on the air tonight. And McShane against Roby is one of the big matchups of the night. Rankin with a deep kick downfield. Coote is underneath it, and the St Helens Australian fullback will bring it, but only as far as Michael Shent.
Eddie, playing against the best players in the competition will certainly bring the best out of you as well. You've got to rise to the occasion. The fans have turned up. The atmosphere is electric here. And the man behind dummy half there for Saints, James Roby, like you said before, looking forward to his battle with Paul McShane. 2 classy 9s we've got, haven't we, on short?
Regan Grace plays the ball to Roby. Here now is Alex Walmsley. Castleford in defensive mode. They lost their 100% start at Warrington 2 weeks ago, so they are itching to be the first team to halt St Helens' winning run tonight. Roby quickly in at dummy half again, finds Theo Farge, turns the ball back on the inside. Just lovely ball away from Lachlan Coote, and he finds Thompson, but Thompson drops the ball under pressure, and Castleford have it back.
Last tackle, St Helens normally so good when it comes to the last tackle options. It was the fullback, Lachlan Coote, who ends up offloading the ball to the front rower. He can do many things in this game, and I don't think that's one of his strengths. Not brought his kicking licence with him.
Here's Greg Eden, Super League's top try scorer at the moment, with 7 tries to his name. 5 tries in 4, 7 in all. And back at the top of the scoring charts. And only 6 players, would you believe, have topped the scoring charts twice. Anthony Sullivan of St Helens, Dennis Moran, Leslie Vinacolo, Adi Gardner of Saints, Ryan Hall and Josh Charnley. They have been top try scorers twice in a season. Can Eden add his name to that list come October? This is a high, deep kick from Truman. Underneath it is Coote again. And he gets the ball to Tommy Makinson. He's a man who needs 1 try in Super League for 100 in St Helens colours, and because he was trying to play the ball and Castleford wouldn't release him, he gets the first penalty of the match.
And Tommy Makinson as well wouldn't go to ground. No, he's a good winger. He brings the ball back. He's very strong. Every time that he's in contact, you can see him trying to play the ball, and Paul McShane, Liam Watts just wouldn't release him.
So St Helens begin inside Castleford territory. His latest set of 6. And that's Zebtea, who played the ball. Walmsley casts it forward, which is his trademark. Roby at dummy half goes down the left-hand side and finds Lomax. Further wide it goes to Regan Grace via Teya. Teya takes the return pass, gives it back to the French international Farge. This now is Walmsley. Walmsley grounded.
Liam Watts again. Every time Walmsley's touched the ball, he's hunted as Liam Watts, and he wants to put a marker down. 2 8s come in and clash in early doors.
That's Morgan Knowles with a run. He plays the ball to Roby again. This is Farge. Back on the inside it goes to Thompson. And here we are, last tackle. 5 metres out, Roby gives the ball to Lachlan Coote. And Lachlan Coote is over for the first try for the Saints. 4 minutes gone, first blood to St Helens. Well, he kicked a career-best 6 goals from 8 against Huddersfield last week. That's only his 2nd try of the Super League campaign, Lachlan Coote. St Helens very, very patient in the build-up. And Lachlan Coote over for the first try of the match.
But they're always quick out the blocks, though, aren't they, Saints? They like to set the speed and set the tempo of the game. The way that they've started this year, a fifth of the tries that they've scored have been within the first 10 minutes of the whistle. And James Roby again attracts attention. Lachlan Coote just hits a hard line to get over the try line. And Justin Holbrook really made up with the side. His side and the performances that they've been showing this year.
It looks a simple play, doesn't it, to actually score the try, but they set it up well. A wide ball from acting half to a half-back who finds an inside player, and that just disturbs and disrupts the defensive line. We'll see that unfold throughout the night from St Helens.
Well, he's kicked 13 goals in his last 4 games as Lachlan Coote, and that makes it 14. And St Helens lead 6-0.
Well, it might not have stopped this try here, but it's interesting that Castleford have started this game when they don't have possession. The scrum half, Jordan Rankin, is actually in the full-back position. You see, he couldn't prevent that try. Peter Matautia, who'll be the full-back, I think, when they attack, goes to defend in the right centre position. That's primarily because I think Alex Foster struggled there last week in particular, and Mark Percival, the St Helens left centre, were running down that area. So it hasn't worked so far, but watch that. That's interesting to play 2 different positions in attack and defence.
Oh, I think that just went over the line, just went out on the full. Saints took a bit of a gamble. Matautia doesn't believe it is out on the full. This will tell us. And it isn't out on the full.
But Johnny Lomax and Luke Thompson just looking at each other, thinking it was too much weight on that kick. So after conceding a try, they now have a set of 6 in Saints' half.
Stay on side.
So goal line dropout for St Helens. Great kick-off from Matautia to within centimetres of the dead ball line. And they better get on with this quickly. They better get on with this quickly. Well, there it is. Well, that went to 0 on the shot clock, and no klaxon. No klaxon. Well, that could have been an interesting moment, because had the klaxon sounded, or the buzzer sounded, or whatever they used, we don't know because we never heard it, that would have been a penalty underneath the sticks for the Castleford Tigers, and it looked to us as though the ball was kicked after 0 on the shot clock. Anyway, here we go. Castleford on the attack because of the goal line dropout.
Move, Alex, hold.
And this is Matautia, 20 minutes out. Into centre field it goes. Big fella Junior Moores takes it forward.
Move, Alex, on the 10.
Down to within 10, 11 metres of the Saints line. McShane will fire the pass to Truman. That ricochets back to Truman. Was it played at? No. The referee keeps his hand aloft. It's the 5th and last, so that's the turnover. Castleford say it was played at. James Child said it wasn't.
Well, Jake Truman, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulder in this game. Castleford defensively need to be strong. You can see that he goes to catch that Zeb Taylor, and I think that some of the Castleford players have got a point then. You can see as he goes to grab that ball, then it goes forward. Liam Watts flying out the line, trying to intimidate Luke Thompson.
The fact that Taylor's arms went up to try and grab the ball is an indication surely that was played at, Stuart.
It is, yes. It was a very short distance. Hit him on the chest, but he definitely made a play at the ball.
So a couple of controversial moments already, but here now is Johnny Lomax. He's got Theo Farge with him. He takes on Matautia. He gets through Matautia. Here comes the last tackle for the Saints. They go down the short side here with Coote again. Oh, and the ball is played back to Coote, and then out the back door brilliantly. Regan Grace is held up just short.
Well, good defence, wasn't it, from Oliver Holmes, the number 11 for Castleford. If he wasn't involved in that tackle, then Regan Grace scores that try. And it's amazing, isn't it? Look, you think you'd have them on tackles 1 and 2, then all of a sudden they split down the short side. They seem to get you the pace that they have to get through the defensive line. And then all of a sudden you find yourself bringing the ball back away from your own try line.
Well, that's exactly right. They're looking to control plays 1, 2 and 3, Castleford Tigers, but you can't forget about the back end of the set. And that's the reason Johnny Lomax found an edge, found a passive defender and made that break.
Helens moving up very, very quickly at the play of the ball. The Castleford fans screaming for a penalty for offside. This is Michael Shenton now. Michael Shenton, of course, once upon a time at St Helens 2 years ago. He played in the 2011 Grand Final for Saints against Leeds. Holmes does well to get away from Percival. He can't get away from Teya.
Very underestimated player, Oliver Holmes. Does a lot of the donkey work, a lot of the hard work, rolls his sleeves up, made that tackle. There's a chip and chase.
Nice kick over the top by Truman. Saints don't deal with the threat. Dominic Peyroux was hunting it down. Theo Farge took the possession himself. And here now comes Makinson.
Even though he's a youngster, Jake Truman, he's the dominant half, I think, in this cast side. He'll take control at the back end of the set. And that's why Saints managed to put the pressure on him then.
Regan Grace felt the full weight of that tackle. This is Roby. Castleford would keep a close watch on him, and Regan Grace is okay. He's trotting his way back to the left wing. This is Lomax, Millington and Holmes with the tackle. Last one in this set for St Helens. Here's Coote again. Angle kick. Farge is after it. Picked up though by Matautia.
He called for that then, Theo Farge. He was heading towards the sticks. He pointed in that direction, and they give a penalty away here now. Tackle was complete. James Charles said he's got to get up. He's got to let him play the ball. Look at this. Good play from the two Saints players. Matautia did well to pick that ball up, trying to play the ball. It's all a bit sloppy around, and Theo Farge is the man penalised. Good pressure from both sides. Two teams here that are going all out for the two valuable league points, aren't they?
Referee called held, and so St Helens then had to let him go. They didn't, they actually put him to grounds, hence the penalty, and from the resultant penalty, Alex Foster tries to run the ball up the other end of the field. Millington wants the pass away to Truman again, but Peyroux hunting down the Castleford standoff. That's a good ball to Shenton, and Shenton tries to get round Kevin Nagama. Nagama tries to drag him into touch, then just at the last moment thought better of it. Here now Junior Moores.
Classy play. He's a big man as well, isn't he, Junior Moores?
Here's another big man. Millington drops it off to yet another big man in Liam Watts. Last tackle now coming up for Castleford. They're getting through their sets pretty quickly, these two. This is Truman. He dabs it quietly towards the in-goal area.
There was a collision off the ball. I think it's Junior Moores ends up on the field, but haven't we got a high-quality game here? Both sides got the correct balance of skill, speed and self-belief. Really testing and challenging one another in these early stages.
Good tackle on Luke Thompson. There's Roby. Farge, short ball, Nagama. Roby once again. Alex Walmsley. Straight at Liam Watts. He's got low down by Paul McShane. Here's Lomax. Goes up high under pressure from Massey. Whoops. Minikin. Fortunately for him, it bounced forward into his face. He was facing his own sticks and it went backwards.
Well, it was a good defensive set from Cas, but then all of a sudden that wicked kick from Johnny Lomax puts Casford under pressure near their own line. You know, coaches will talk about recognising the threat, recognising what they're going to do, who's the one who's going to kill, who's the one who's going to hurt you. Well, any player within both of these sides can get you at any point in the game.
Rankin, nice little work from him, finds Matautia. Matautia gets it away to Moores. Moores then looks for the support, it's there from Truman. Shane quickly in, here's Junior Moores again. Gets the ball away, straight to Roby. And Roby's looking for support from the St Helens colleagues, none there.
Well, Loitering with intent, he knew exactly what Junior Moores was going to do. There was a leg tackler on him, so he's going to turn and look to offload that ball.
It seemed to me the Castleford defenders, who were attackers, all stopped, pointing at James Roby. Play to the whistle, boys.
Lomax.
Move, Grant. Back up. Near forward.
At Huddersfield, bottom club, taking on Hull Kingston Rovers. It's 2 apiece. Here, 6-0 to St Helens. 13 minutes gone. Mark Percival for Saints on the left-hand side. Coote is waiting. Gives the ball infield to Zeb Teya. Teya gets within 5 metres of the cast line. Tackle number 5. Last one coming up then. Here is Farge. And that's Morgan Knowles. And it's a penalty for a high shot right underneath the sticks.
Ian Watts stuck his arm out there. He knew that Morgan Knowles, who's had such a good start to 2019,
Just stay there.
short, 2 or 3 metres away from the line, and a lunging arm from Watts.
Justin Holbrook says we'll take the 2.
Exactly, it's been a ferocious pace.
Over 2.
Coming up for 14 minutes, we've hardly had a breath apart from that first try. Look at Liam Watts.
When you think back, here's the penalty here. High tackle just hits him. Referee got a good view of that, so it's a penalty. Warrington's win over Wakefield last night ended up being by 2 points. You forget, very early in the second half, I think it was 2 minutes into the second half, Warrington elected to kick a penalty goal. They were already ahead by 20 points at that time, but that 2-point penalty goal was the end up being the difference between the two sides. So there's no doubt here that this trait of kicking penalty goals is coming back into fashion.
Well, you'd imagine Lachlan Coote will kick this, and he does. And the Saints have got a new chant when Coote
Get to Zebtai about 10 metres.
puts the ball over the bar, a bit like Schnood at home. We've now got Coote at St Helens.
What was that again?
You know what I'm talking.
Make sure you come
Do
all
you
the
know,
way
you
to 10.
look at the game, and wherever both of these teams are playing, Lachlan Coote at the back, Matautia at the back for Castleford, they're looking to link up, they're looking to play early, they're playing off the back of decent ball forward. The forwards are winding up to get on the front foot, get over defenders, offload the ball in every opportunity. They certainly are out to entertain tonight.
This is a big match at the top of the table. This is a vital match for Leeds at the other end. Tomorrow they play the Catalan Dragons in Perpignan, and it's a 5 o'clock start live on Sky Sports Action.
Go, mate.
Big game for Leeds. Always a big game for Catalan when they're at home in Perpignan. Big crowd will be on for that as well.
Move back
The big challenge for Castleford is to find a way of stopping St Helens. If you look at terms of gaining ground, first the run by Grace was brilliant, then we had one by Taylor, another one here by Thompson. In 3 runs we've got to the halfway line. Castleford aren't making ground as easily.
Wormsley, that's a good hit.
And every time he's touched the ball, Liam Watts has met him.
Lomax, short ball. Zebtaia, good tackle by Foster. Here goes Roby, left-hand side again, Coote. And up and under. And Matautia claims it, and Matautia does very well to stay this side of the whitewash.
I agree, that's excellent work. That Mark Percival was all over Matautia. It was a decent contest in the air, but the Castleford fullback comes up with it. Look at that for calm and composed play.
Well, watch Saints fly in now, because they'll try and keep Castleford penned back near their own line here.
And when they have you in the corner, there's only one way that you can come out. You've got to get back into centre field as quickly as you can to open up that defence.
McShane gives it a bit of air and finds Truman. It's a solid run from Junior Moores. There's Truman with a long kick right down the middle of the field.
Perfectly placed as well. He split the 2 Saints players in the backfield. It hit a bit of grass, giving his chase team time.
This is Regan Grace. He signed an extension to his contract until the end of 2021 on Tuesday. Regan Grace on one side, this fellow Tommy Makinson on the other. Percival, well, Grant Millington went hunting and missed him, but Jordan Rankin didn't. Wormsley.
Wow, they're just playing the game quicker, aren't they, than Castleford at the present. With and without the ball, a penalty is going to help them even more. Now, can St Helens maintain this pace and intensity? Jamie Jones-Buchanan said last night as a guest, can you play at the same pace throughout the season? Can you play at the same pace and intensity level throughout an 80-minute period? They've started so quickly. This is impressive.
Here we are, guys.
And they've got a huge pack, haven't they? With Wormsley and Thompson and Taya and Peyroux. Knowles isn't that small either. They've got Paulo, McCarthy, Scarsbrook, Lees and Ashworth to come on. Another penalty for hands in the rock.
Well, they just keep rolling forward, don't they? So that's Alex Walmsley who earns a penalty. Now he's prop forward teammate Luke Thompson. He earns another penalty. Hard to handle. Instead of going for 2 points here, they're running it.
Well, 8-0 up. Feel as though they might as well.
Move all the way. Hold.
And Peyroux gets to his feet. Roby to Morgan Knowles. Excellent run from Morgan Knowles. Great support from Roby. Back he comes to Wormsley. Look out. Here's the big fellow. Wormsley, does he get this ball
they've
down?
held him up.
No, he doesn't.
committed defence from Castleford. No doubt they're under pressure and under siege from St Helens. They get hold of the ball, and again it's Oliver Holmes.
That's the second try that he saved, Oliver Holmes. He saved one in the right-hand corner, and I think he saved that one as well, stopping the big fella Alex Walmsley from grounding that ball over the try line.
Nathan Massey, was he involved in the tackle on Walmsley as well? Certainly took the wind out of the sails. Yeah, he landed probably awkwardly.
They're doing everything, and he knows that he's got to try and get under Alex Walmsley. You can see when he positions himself, he carries him over the line. He knows that he's got his teammate Oliver Holmes, who's got hold of the ball, controlling that, so Walmsley can't get it down.
Well, Darryl Powell and Ryan Sheridan looking on anxiously here as Nathan Massey receives treatment. They've got an exceptional home form record under Darryl Powell. This is where Massey got injured. They have 55 wins from 74 home games in Super League. That's a winning ratio on this ground of 74%.
They fight hard to keep that percentage high. It looked like you could see the anguish on his face, Eddie. He ended up being underneath. I don't know whether it was the weight of Oliver Holmes right on his fist and his wrist. It certainly bent it the wrong way.
Well, Alan Milner's there in front of Liam Watts. He's the man who's replaced him. Oh, that's a good run. That tear is halted just short again, but Castleford have got a lot of work to do defensively here. This is Roby trying to pinch one from dummy half.
Release, play the ball.
Just this side of the whitewash, the referee calls hell, so they play the ball there. And here is Farge. Now it's with Lomax. Lomax shake to kick, but there's obstruction. Saints player ran behind his own man, penalty, which is a relieving penalty for Castleford.
Well, they needed the ball quickly, didn't they? And they need to get away from the try line as well. Some dominant carries from Saints that are earning that valuable field position. Johnny Lomax, you can see that Dominic Peru runs through. He collides with a couple of defenders. Johnny Lomax then drops it onto the boot to kick to the corner.
And he's in the line, Dominic Peru, hence the penalty. Standing in the defensive line.
They need a couple of big charges themselves here now. Castle need to damage the middle and sap the energy from some of the bigger fellas.
There's a big start to the game. Junior Moore's playing on this left side. I think he's so much more effective when he's in that left-sided channel rather than in the middle.
This is Adam Milner. Adam Milner, who made 3 appearances for England at the back end of last season. Such was his form in the Super League. Played against the French and then 2 against the Kiwis in 2018. Here he is on the ball now. And he finds Truman. Truman then gets it away to Moores. Farge low down. Roby, Thompson upstairs. McShane gets it away to Truman. Another little delicate kick.
There's a penalty here to Saints. Peter Matauti, when that ball's kicked, he pushes Lachlan Coote. So he pushes him into the ball and then he takes it over the dead ball line. Look at that. Correct decision from the referee, James Child.
It is a difficult one for Matauti there. He can't get to the ball. He can't push him in the back, of course, but it's a difficult one.
Well, Coote's trying to shield the ball out, which he's entitled to do. What Matauti's got to try and do is go around the side of him. You can't just push him. He's not in possession of the ball, so therefore you can't tackle him.
Yeah, it was a push in the back, no doubt about that. This is Peru for St Helens. He's having the best run of form in the Saints jersey is Dominic Peru. Luke Thompson loses his feet in the challenge from Millington. Roby, Morgan Knowles, Walmsley back, he puts Milner on his backside. Liam Watts was there, fortunately for the Tigers. This is Roby, now it's Lomax. Lomax still. Thought about a short pass, thought better of it. It's Roby again. Here is Farge. Morgan Knowles. The defence from Moores. Last one coming up then for St Helens. This set. Farge will drift the kick in behind. Whoops! That was a shame. That was a shame for Greg Eden because there was nobody at home. It was a clear run to the other end of the field.
I agree. It just opens up for him, doesn't it? It's a try-scoring opportunity. He's quick, isn't he, Greg Eden? Open space in front of him. I think there was only Lachlan Coote that probably wouldn't have been expecting that player to come up with the ball, and Greg Eden, we all know what tremendous try scorer he is.
You've got to forgive the bad with Greg Eden, because when he gets it right, when he is good, it's outstanding.
This is that scrum player. They've scored from it at Salford, I think, 2 weeks ago, Eddie. Can they do it again? Get the man in the corner?
It's Roby. Lomax sending it wide to Coote, further wide to Percival, and out to Regan Grace. What about that? What about that from Regan Grace? Well, it worked. Try from the base of the scrum. You picked it, Phil. They were lined up down the left-hand side, and Regan Grace gets to within one of Greg Eden at the top of the Super League try-scoring charts, celebrating that new contract extension signed on Tuesday.
Well, Greg Eden near the try line, he makes the mistake. He hands the possession over to Saints, and like Phil said, they scored a try here. The set piece from them. They only had 3 men defending outside the right-hand post, and when you give them that much space, Percival and Grace, last season they scored 38 tries between them. They are danger men. They can score, and look at that for an acrobatic finish. Greg Minnican had no chance.
I just love tries from scrums, because to me it's rugby at its best, isn't it? Fast-moving players, bit of skill, and a wonderful finish there in the corner. It should be worth 8 points, not 4. They've done it exactly again. You know what? Even though their opponents knew it might have even been on from that play, they weren't good enough because of just how well they had every player running at the right timing and delivering the exact pass.
Regan Grace has now scored tries in each of his last 4 matches. The most difficult kick of the night for Lachlan Coote, though. Not quite this time. 12-0, Saints.
Well, Saints have really built into that try, or built that try on the back of 3 or 4 minutes of solid work, completing sets, running hard, earning penalty. There's no wonder they execute that play perfectly, but they've also executed that plan, that game plan they've been practicing all week. 24 minutes and they're in front.
I don't know the year exactly, Stuart, and I'm putting this right on your toes, and I apologise, when they decided to take the corner flag out of the equation. But hasn't it brought about some spectacular tries for wingers in this game?
It is. I think it was before the 2008 World Cup.
It was, Stuart.
Yeah. Whatever you'd have said then, Stuart, Terry would have agreed. But it was a fantastic rule change. There are some rule changes that people look at and question, but I tell you what, that one
brilliant, isn't it?
has just given us some fantastic tries over the years. I didn't realise it was that long ago. Angela Powers has got some news for us of Nathan Massey.
Yeah, Eddie, he's sitting on the sideline now and he's got the biggest bag of ice I've ever seen strapped to his wrist. But the news is it's just basically a wait-and-see brief. They're not quite sure at this moment whether he's going to come back on or not, but they're very, very hopefully will do.
And it didn't look good when he went off, and it is a massive bag of ice.
I just think when you look
The size of that, a few cocktails in that, Barry, isn't there?
Well, I've bought bigger from the supermarket when I've been having a barbecue, but they're obviously trying to control the swelling and the pain and see if they can get Nathan Massey back on.
I should ask Terry about the cocktails, really, I think.
Cosmopolitan, was it?
Yes, he's the Cosmo man. Good kick. That just relieves a little bit of pressure on Castleford.
And that's what you're after, Eddie. You're after just someone stepping up, taking control. Yeah, it's probably a defensive play where you need to get up there, just buy a bit of time, get the ball away from your own try line. And Jake Truman, like I said before, he's tasked with controlling this Cas side.
But then they need to find a way of stopping St Helens advancing the ball 50, 60, 70 metres in the set of possession here. They've done it incredibly well, haven't they, for 25 minutes, but we've all seen enough games of rugby league to know that it can change, and Castleford have to hang in there now during this fight. Maybe look for a mistake and certainly work harder here now with the tackle
Shot clock off ball.
to hold back the Saints' momentum downfield.
It's Makinson who will take the first run, and he'll be halted by Oliver Holmes' challenge. Roby, Lomax, Taya will take it forward, but only a few metres forward before Milner was in there. And every time there is a tackle made by Castleford Tigers, I'll tell you what, number 9, Paul McShane, is never too far away from it. He's involved again there.
He gets through an awful lot of work, doesn't he? He's always picked out as well when the ball's in the middle of the field. People think that he can't tackle. And there's Louis McCarthy Scarsbottom now, another player who's come on the bench, really gets the team going forward.
Yes, he's full of enthusiasm when he gets on the field. Lomax. McShane, by the way, ultra consistent. Only 2 absences in 104 games for Castleford over the past 2 years. Good take by Matautia. He was under pressure from McCarthy Scarsdale.
Good take. He does that a lot, doesn't he? He's collecting the ball. Almost looks like he's sat on the floor as he's collecting it. Castleford trying to work hard. And you're right to mention Paul McShane. According to our stats, 21 defensive efforts he's put in so far. When he gets to every play of the ball, he's still talking, still yapping away. Typical hooker.
Yes, he's sending the fail. There's the ball to McShane. Here is Truman. Castleford building down his left-hand side. Good ball over the top to Michael Shenton. Shenton just slipped a bit as he went for the line, had to check and come back inside. Last one here for Castleford. They want to repeat set at least, maybe more if they can. They're going wide with Matautia. Further wide it goes, up off the ground from Foster, but straight into the arms of Lomax. That wasn't the best end to that set. But there's a problem here by the looks of things. Another injury for a Castleford Tigers player.
In Matautia that's down. See, he's hit there by Johnny Lomax, and then he collides with Mark Percival. Goes down, takes a nasty bang.
Another arm injury by the looks of it.
I don't know whether he gets... collects the defender on his ribs.
Just wait for me, just wait.
As he's spinning round. Was it Mark Percival, whose head, I think, see how much pain is in there. Percival's head must be as tough as a conker.
Hold this 10.
Saints 20 metres from their own line. This is Matty Lees. He returned as a sub last week against Huddersfield. He's on the bench again tonight. McCarthy Scarsbrook. Good defensive set from Castleford. They've kept Saints inside their own half of the field, but the kick from Farge will go deep. There's a test for the injury for Matautia. He's okay. Pouches that safely.
Quite important for Darryl Powell and his team now that they can try and generate some speed. The amount of time that they're trying to get outside of Saints, they're very strong in the middle. The leg drive here from Minikin to try and get forward. It's nice and controlled Saints. Got good line speed. They're meeting all the challenges, and look at that. There's 6 or 7 players that are going up, working as a unit, and just working as a defence.
The game's just almost took a natural breath, hasn't it? It's slowed down. St Helens not quite making those yards. I know they're 2 scores in front on the scoreboard, but Cass edging the way back into this game.
Good run from the skipper, Shenton. McShane to Watts. Here is Rankin. That's a tester for Regan Grace, but he's up to the challenge.
This is the battle, Eddie. This is what they've got to win. Look at Mark Percival. Every time he carries the ball, he runs as hard as he can. Then you've got the likes of Tommy Makinson, Regan Grace, who like to get between defenders and land on the front. And then that short side play again.
Roby with a scampering run. Coote back on the inside to Regan Grace. Has to go inside Milner, but there's reinforcements aplenty out there. Matt Cook amongst them. Here comes Makinson.
Move, Oliver.
Last tackle coming up here this set for St Helens. Nearly lost it then, Makinson. Coote will hoist it high again. It's out here. He did well then. He had to check, and then he went forward and then checked again.
I think that is the worst position on the field, being a fullback. You've got to deal with the team if there's a break. You've got to tackle the man. You've got to deal with them high kicks. Oh, look at this. It goes everywhere, and all of a sudden he goes to ground. Does a decent job though, Matautia.
Yes, you have to be a jack of all trades and a master of most of them.
And that's unusual though. You've just seen Eddie just to follow on there after that point. Castleford running sideways, not forward. I guess they're trying to stretch St Helens' defence rather than run at the middle of it. But they haven't had much success at gaining ground here. Diving around trying to get the referee to blow a penalty.
Matt Cook. Last tackle here. Rankin.
Outside. Give 10.
High and down the middle. Coote is underneath it. Finds Regan Grace, who comes back this way. Oh, nearly through.
So
Vital challenge that from Milner.
So dangerous again. He lands on his front. You're not dominating him. You're not slowing him down. The injection of pace into the defensive line.
2 and a move.
Good player, Regan Grace. Remember his debut Good Friday the other year against Wigan. Scored a try. Hardly been out of the side since. First name on the sheet for Justin Holbrook. No wonder they've signed him up to the end of 2021. This is Coote again, but the pass from McCarthy Scarsbrook had him almost flat-footed, so Castleford move in for the kill. Now then, he's not flat-footed, this fellow Roby. Gets the ball away, Nagama's after it, but that's a claim by Truman.
Good recognition from the youngster. Recognise that loose ball again, looking to play to...
Oh, he's given it away, Eden. He's given it away to Matty Lees.
Sloppy pass from Eden.
Here is Zeb Taylor. He jinks and turns and goes one way and then the other. Here is Lees again for a second effort.
Big set here now for Castleford. They've got to keep Saints out.
Well, they have to keep them out if they can. Coote back on the inside to Taylor. Gets the ball away to Lachlan Coote again. Coote then will find Percival. Down he goes. Important challenge that by Rankin. There's Grace. Roby takes over, finds McCarthy Scarsbrook. Tommy Makinson screaming for the ball to be fed out wide down this right-hand side. He fancies his chances. 4 tackles gone. Castleford, can they weather the storm? It is with Dominique Peyrou, and the answer is no, they can't. No, they can't. And Greg Eden has paid the ultimate price for the sloppy pass in field. And Dominique Peyrou has come up with a try.
Well, it came from a real blunder from Greg Eden. Castleford had just managed to get that ball down. He thinks he can find a support player in Paul McShane. Throws a wild pass that ends up being picked up by the replacement, Matty Lees. And St Helens again, calm, patient approach. And Dominic Peyrou pushing himself, placing himself in the right place to collect that pass. And a delicate little float into space by his half-back Theo Fage.
Well, it's an accurate pass from dummy half from James Roby. And then all of a sudden, you've got Theo Fage who goes at the line, and the man who's transitioned from centre to back row, I think he's done a tremendous job, Dominic Peyrou. Picks out a decent line and gets over the try line.
And another man bang in form, Dominique Peyrou, because that is his third try scoring appearance in a row. And Greg Eden will be reflecting on what might have been. The pass was sloppy. It gifted possession to St Helens. They took full advantage of it. They are ruthless when presented with opportunities like that. Coote has added the extras. St Helens are ahead by 18 points to 0. The league leaders running strongly. And Darryl Powell has left his Erie up here and he's on the field and he's looking and he's talking. His looks could kill. Greg Eden would not be on the field right now. Well, Darryl looks like he's making his presence felt and he's letting his players know he is not happy.
Saints will be open that he's not going to go and put a kit on looking at his face. I tell you, he was a tough old player as well, wasn't he, Darryl? A skillful player as well.
The referee has to wait while Darryl gets from one side of the field to the other.
I'm not so sure he should be on the field, to be honest, but there we go.
What I do know is that it's pressure that gets players to panic, and St Helens have had the Tigers under pressure from the start of this game, on the back foot in almost everything really, and as a result they've found it hard to go forward the ball. Players panic, they throw passes that they shouldn't do inside their own half. They've lost possession, it's cost them more points.
Well, Darryl Powell watches from on this side of the field. The dressing rooms are on the other side of the field in the technical area. That's where he is now. I suppose the only route he's got, Stu, is to go straight across the field. Probably against the rules or the spirit. He could walk right round the outside of the field. I don't think that would be very wise, personally. Anyway, I think he got his message across, certainly to Greg Eden.
Well, he won't be looking to link up and throw that pass anymore in this game, will he?
40-20 attempt here by St Helens. Bounced just the wrong side for them, but the right side for Matauti. Look at the chase.
Yeah, look at that chase.
Look at the chase from Saints.
Eddie, there's absolutely nowhere to go. Normally,
they get the penalty
away. Normally there's a belly of the defence that teams will talk about. Well, you lead that kick chase. Probably involved around 5 or 6 players. But with that Saints defensive line then, there's about 11 or 12 of them going forward. You can't find any space to get through. And then Matty Lee's just all involved in Metalti, trying to slow him down. And get the penalty.
I do love his enthusiasm, Matty Lee. He's a bit too much on that occasion. Jack Ashworth, Matty Lee's, two young bucks in the pack for St Helens, but a lot of work to do with Castleford. My mind's already going back to last night when Wakefield and Warrington were fighting it out. And we thought that Wakefield were dead and buried, didn't we?
We did.
How wrong we were.
Well, it looks like Huddersfield 20 points to 2 up against Hull KR. And just maybe Huddersfield are moving off the foot of the table tonight. Would that put Wigan down at the 12th position? Or Leeds at the foot of the table ahead of their matches this weekend? They're second and third bottom, those two. People who follow this sport and have done since Super League's inception in 1996 will think that they're looking at the wrong end of the table if they see those two down there.
Upside down.
They will. Nice flick to Shenton. There was nothing really there for Eden. He could not do anything with that.
To be fair, he did well to catch it, didn't he?
He did. Last one. Tried to slide the kick through. The tackle count is wiped down.
Well, this is what they need now, Cass. What can they conjure up here?
The kick was charged down by Nagama, so this is Castleford's best and from memory only real chance to attack this St Helens line in the first half. And Matt Cook is doing exactly that, and he just gets held up short.
Again, it's good desperate defence, isn't it, from Saints? Morgan Rolls and Lachlan Coote.
Another scruffy pass. Foster does well to hang on.
That's got to improve for Cass.
And he got injured in that, did Alex Foster. Here's McShane. Senny Lefeo back on the inside. Matautia. Beautiful pickup from McShane. Out wide they come, but it goes straight to Nagama again.
The passing is just not on point tonight. Whether the ball's going on the floor, and that look says it all from Darryl Powell. Whether they're throwing intercepts, the likes of that one from McShane or from Eden, or the actual pass initially is just going on the floor to loose pass under no pressure.
Darryl Powell's under no illusions about the size of the task facing his team tonight.
Eddie, well, you've got to be at your best. They haven't lost a game all year, have the Saints? So you know you've got to be absolutely switched on and 100% focused.
Roby leapt over a grounded player then. Ooh, Farge. It was a big hit on him, but he still managed to get the ball away to Lachlan Coote. And back on the inside. It's a solid enough run as well from Zeb Taylor. Last tackle here. Into the last minute. A drop goal maybe from Farge? No, they're more ambitious than that. Eden has claimed that. Now then, is there some space for Egan to exploit? There might be here for Truman.
They did well, didn't he, Greg Eden? Because he was under pressure. And here he goes again.
That's a better run. This is what he does really well.
He knows he's got to make up for it, doesn't he?
From Roby. Shenton, Truman, Matautia and Rankin. Not tackled. Play on. He can get up and carry on, which he does. It's a great run from Rankin. Important challenge from Morgan Knowles. Here goes McShane. They want it played out here. It's a dab to the in-goal area. And Roby just shuttles the ball over the line with help from Nagama as Jesse Senilefeo was closing in.
Well, big 40 minutes from James Roby, and still has the energy to get there and save that try.
I'd like to look at that Theo Farge challenge again. I don't think we're going to get a chance. But the Castleford player going to put the ball down off the kick. The shoulder charge out of the way. Look at Darryl Powell.
Well, as things aren't bad enough for Darryl Powell, he's now stood in the rain which has started to fall here in West Yorkshire. Well, nothing wet about St Helens, that's for sure. They've been red hot. Lachlan Coote in the 4th minute. He scored the try, he improved the score himself. Coote with a penalty goal on 14 minutes. Grace's try, 22 out on the far side. And then Peyru underneath the sticks, and Coote added the extras. The league leaders, the unbeaten league leaders, their 100% record is intact. And they lead here at the Menderhose Jungle by 18 points to 0. a little bit of magic.
Steve, you've been a Sky customer for 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hear you're a football fan and love a good sci-fi. So, we've got Premier League tickets for you and a chance to be an extra on a show.
Seriously?
Seriously. I better go.
Who's that, Daddy?
It's Amelia Fox.
We're on a mission to thank you for the time you've been with us. For your thank you, download the My Sky app.
Movies deserve a home of their own.
All right. Are you watching closely?
Available now on Sky Cinema.
7 Adam 15 in pursuit of red Jeep heading south.
Officer Nolan.
You spent your life avoiding accidents, which means those instincts are harder to break. Turn around.
Police! Show me your hand!
Failure is not an option. Going in. Nolan!
Brand new The Rookie continues Thursday at 9 on Sky Witness. And if you've missed the start of the new series, you can join the rookies in training with episode 1. Available now on Catch Up TV.
It's gone back to Richardson. Richardson with a drop goal. He's kicked it!
The home of live and exclusive Formula One is on Sky Sports. This weekend, or the weekend I should say, of March 29th and 31st, it's the Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix, round 2 of the Formula One season. Tomorrow night on Sky Sports Action, we will bring you the British light heavyweight title fight between Joshua Boachi and Liam Conroy. 7 p.m. Sky Sports Action. For that one, round 7 of Betfred Super League is into day 2, and the other game tonight is over the John Smith Stadium. The Huddersfield Giants have a 20 points to 2 lead at half-time against Hull Kingston Rovers. Rovers opened the scoring with a Ryan Shaw penalty. Gaskell levelled things up with another penalty. 2-2, and then 3 tries. Cruz Lehman, Oliver Roberts and Darnell McIntosh have given Simon Wolford a much-needed half-time lead, and they may be on their way to their 2nd win of the season. Well, our St Helens on to their next win of this season, in which they remain unbeaten thus far. They have an 18-0 half-time lead. Tries from Lachlan Coote, Regan Grace and Dom Peru, as the first half came to a close, has no doubt upset Darryl Powell. And we had the unusual side of a one-man pitch invasion after Peru's try, as Darryl Powell held up the restart as he made his way slowly across the field, no doubt exchanging words, angry words, with some of his players. If looks could kill. Well, Darryl has had time to, if not calm down, rev up, because he's now inside the dressing room with his charges, no doubt emphasising the points they have to fix up in the second half that is ahead of us. Ruck speed, the ruck speed particularly of Justin Holbrook's St Helens, is causing his side numerous problems and has allowed Justin Holbrook's team to build up this healthy half-time lead. Looking good for St Helens. 6 wins so far in the season. They are halfway towards their 7th. John Wells, not the first half many people expect. In fact, I would say not the first half anybody inside this stadium expected.
No, and you can put that down to the efficiency of St Helens. I think without being spectacular, without being in a different class quality-wise or through any display of sublime skill, they very efficiently navigated their way into a commanding lead. Obviously, there's some errors in there which have compounded things for the Castleford Tigers. You know, this try in particular, just it goes to show, you know, what good thinking, what good positioning, what good communication and efficiency does for you. And this is Dominic Pereira. This was the try following the second Greg Eden error. 18-0 is, in the context of this game, given where both teams are, and given I'll say it again, the efficiency of St Helens, that's a mountain to climb for the Tigers.
Oh, well, we saw a mountain almost climbed last night by Wakefield Trinity. They will not. Castleford Tigers have ruled themselves out of this game. Don Peru crossing again, his third in the last 3 matches. Prolific for the big Samoan forward. I wanted to look at Regan Grace's try in particular, John. Phil referenced it in the build-up to it. Great bit of punditry saying that this is a try they scored against, similar setup they scored against Salford. It's not indefensible. You have to be able to solve this, or Saints would run it every time they had a scrum. But what did Castleford do wrong? What could they do better?
Well, first of all, let's have a look at the build-up. You don't do this. This is it's a huge swing. It's at least an 8-point swing. Because you feel if Greg Eden holds that ball, he's got a fairly good chance of going to the other end of the field. We know he's got some pace. He's got some errors in him, unfortunately, as well. So,
okay, first thing to see is they stack the open side.
Yeah, there's no short side player for St Helens, and tellingly there is for the Tigers. Now that's not mistaking itself. That's defending space rather than defending numbers, and that's the prerogative of any team to decide how they want to do it. I would say, given the width of this ball, and given where Adam Milner is, the pass here almost makes Adam Milner redundant. And I'll tell you why, as we run it on ever so slowly, because as you get out of here, there's James Roby from the base of the scrum. He is immediately covered there. You see the head that pokes out is Paul McShane. So there's not an awful lot, I think, that being there can do for you, other than putting an awful lot of pressure on the guys outside you. That said, it's well executed.
We're only talking about a couple of feet here.
Yes, but that again, that makes all the difference, because how much space did they have to score in? They had less than a couple of feet. The other thing that I think they do very particularly well is this angle of run here. It's on its way out, and it really makes it difficult when these guys are travelling at speed now to adjust and give yourself time. Again, look at the line from Percival and then Regan Grace.
Just pull it back a second, John.
Yeah, okay.
Kevin Aguama and Alex Foster here. We saw a controversial obstruction call last night. Just talk me through Alex Foster. Is he impeded by Kevin Aguama?
No. I mean, I guess if you're going to show the same footage against last night's footage, you say yes, but no, I wouldn't. If I was a Castleford Tigers defender, I wouldn't have any complaints. If I was a Wakefield Trinity player, I shouldn't have had any complaints last night either. But we covered this at length, I think, haven't we?
Okay, we'll go back to your point about Adam Milner stealing just a couple of feet, because the knock-on effect of that would give Greg Minikin just those few more feet. And it's not by much that Regan Gray squeezes into the corner.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, there's so many other good things that go on in there. There's the line of Lachlan Coote, and then the pace with which Percival goes. And he forces Greg Minikin into holding as late as possible, which gives Regan Grace the very little space that he needs to get in the corner. Just to finish, to reiterate, St Helens are not outplaying the Castleford Tigers in terms of a gulf in quality or skill. It's hard work. That ruck is too fast for the Tigers.
Briefly, what do the Tigers do about it? They've got to take the field for the second half. They've got to do something.
They do. They need to start. They need to build into the game. I don't think they lasted more than a couple of sets without conceding a penalty. First 5 sets really interesting. I will say, within the 10 square mile radius of here, the one place I would not want to be at the moment is in that Castleford Tigers dressing room. If they can't come off the back of a rollicking by Darryl Powell and at least offer something in the second half as an issue.
We will see what response they have. You get a feeling the first score of this second half will be all important. It is a huge 18-0 lead for the league leader St Helens at half-time. The Castleford Tigers sitting in third. They said this was a benchmark game. Well, if that's the case, they're coming up short. Darryl Powell has got 40 minutes to rescue this game. Second half with Eddie and the boys on the way.
That was an absolute wicked kick, that.
The gang feasting and the family feeding, because now you're all winning with the KFC Family Feast for $13.99, only at KFC.
When people first came to America, they brought us with the ancient ones. Now there are new gods in America, and they want to destroy us. Wars are coming. I have a big role for you, Shadow Moon.
Whoever has the most followers wins.
Kids used to dare each other to go into the woods at night. Those woods belong to something else. Something that brings things back. Sometimes dead is better.
Now available on demand.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win. Or you die.
There is only one war that matters. And it is here.
Game of Thrones. Every episode available now with the ultimate on-demand pack.
The painting, Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker? Oh, now, where were we? Oh, Gott in Himmel.
Brand new Bounty Hunters. All episodes available now.
Brown misses him. Gelling over the top. Two more live games for you over this weekend. It will be live Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Cattle and Dragons against the Leeds Rhinos. 5 o'clock Sky Sports action. And on Sunday, the latest chapter in the Toronto story. Halifax against Toronto at 3 on Sky Sports Arena. Here at the Menderhose Jungle, it is so far a cakewalk for St Helens. They lead by 18 points to 0. The Saints are leaders at the top of the table. Their 100% record on the line here, but so far so good for Justin Holbrook's men. It's Saints against Castleford here, and don't forget that this match will be reprised at the Dacia Magic Weekend in May, and if you need any information about the Dacia Magic Weekend, well, we will give you the website. There it is. All the information you might need. Saints Castleford on the Sunday, bringing the curtain down on the big weekend. We saw Wigan and Warrington the other week, and that will bring down the curtain on Saturday. Massive weekend. Not the first time, by the way, that Saints and Castleford have played at that venue. St Helens and Castleford faced each other at Anfield way back in 1997. And all that's to come. The Dacia Magic Weekend. This is the Betfred Super League. The 2 points on offer here. And St Helens at the moment with one hand firmly on those 2 points. And the other interesting fact from tonight's other match, Huddersfield against Hull Kingston Rovers, where the Giants lead by 20 points to 2. If Huddersfield hang on and win that game, the Leeds Rhinos will take the field in south of France tomorrow at the bottom of the table. What a big weekend this is for them. Catalan will be in no mood for charity, by the way. This is Zeb Teyer for St Helens, who will be in no mood for charity here in the second 40 against the Castleford Tigers. They still remember what Tigers did to them here in the playoff semi-final just a couple of seasons ago. Greg Eden is in touch, helped there by Tommy Makinson. Castleford here being kept scoreless for the first time this year at half-time.
What a brilliant kick.
He knows exactly what's going on there, Greg Eden.
The kicking accuracy, though, what's killing him, isn't it? He can't do anything other than catch the ball. Then he's immediately under pressure because how it lands just inside the field of play.
He goes to ground. He's trying to make himself a tackle player. And then Tommy Makinson, right, Phil, an accurate kick and a quality chase.
Just wait.
Lachlan Coote, and the rest of his St Helens teammates virtually flawless in that first half.
Looks like it's going to be Huddersfield's night. It might be St Helens' night if they score here. This is Makinson, whose tackle on Eden created this. Poor old Greg Eden's not having the happiest of nights. The drive in here from McCarthy Scarsbrook. Could Castleford this time hold him up?
Well, again, it's that man Oliver Holmes that's involved in the tackle, then he just turns LMS onto his back then.
Danger's not averted, though, for Castleford rather. Saints just lost momentum slightly and get it back almost immediately. As Dom Peyroux plays the ball to Roby, this is Farge, back it comes to Lomax. Here is Zeb Teyer, and they're in again, St Helens. Start of the second half, mirroring the start of the first. St Helens get first blood, they lead by 22 points to 0. It was a big hill for Castleford to climb at half-time. It's becoming a mountain now.
Well, I'm sure that man Darryl Powell, when we saw him walk over the other side of the field, he would have talked in the changes about we've got to start well. The first time that they received the ball, they made a mistake, and good effort from Tommy Makinson to force his opposite into touch. Saints get the ball back, and then the numbers, look at that, he's got 3 options to pick. Theo Fage, when he goes at the line, he picks out Johnny Lomax, and when he picks out Johnny Lomax then has another option, and that option is Zeb Taylor.
It is the inside pass, an inside ball, and the threat of Joseph Paulo that holds up the defenders of Castleford Tigers. Justin Holbrook, Sean Long, Mike Rush, the rest of the St Helens Travellers, well, they're certainly enjoying the 43 minutes that they've had so far.
Well, it's a cool night. I didn't know, looking at Mike Rush with the big beanie hat on, it was that cold. Here's Lachlan Coote. It was his wonderful kick that caused the mayhem for Castleford. He has added the extras. Look at that scoreline. I don't know what Angela Powers has for us, because she's been listening in to what the coaches have said. I don't think Darryl Powell will be too happy, Angela.
No, not really, but I imagine that Justin Holbrook is, because his words to me, well, let's just do the same again. Very happy with that first half. That defence held up well, but they need to be tough in this half and keep their concentration, but so far so good. Now, Darryl pre-match had said we need to be at our very, very best to be able to beat St Helens tonight. In that first half, they certainly weren't. So this half is all about taking their chances and making sure they control the ball as well. Every time they were in the ascendancy, he said they seemed to throw the ball to ground. It's about controlling the ball and keeping calm too. He's expecting better things from his team this second half.
Well, just going back to that Greg Eden where he caught the ball, if he'd actually had the ball on the floor, the tackle, as soon as the St Helens player had come in, Eddie, the tackle would have been completed. But having the ball up off the floor certainly didn't help him.
St Helens are flooding forward again here.
Hold at him.
Paulie gets to his feet, plays it to Roby. This is Theo Fage. Shane and Sammy Lefeo deal with the threat on tackle number 5. Lachlan Coote, another pinpoint accurate kick. Matautia, though, claims it just short of his own line.
Well, Castle needs to be at the very best now for 35 minutes. You look at Saints this year, we conceded just a total of 2 tries in second half performances in the opening 6 games. That shows how good they are. Difficult to break down. They look really fit this year, and Matty Daniels has done a tremendous job conditioning the side, along with the coaches.
History is a little bit against the Castleford Tigers. They've only won 7 of 51 meetings in Super League since 1996. With that last win against St Helens was in the epic playoff semi-final. Luke Gale's golden point style drop goal took them to Old Trafford. It wasn't golden point in those days, it was simply extra time.
And if we think back to that game, I know it's only a small thing, but if we think back to the game, this place was bouncing, it was rocking. The atmosphere, you could hardly hear yourself think, well, you can hear every word that everybody's saying in this stadium, because not only are the players shocked, and there's Luke Gale, one of the players missing tonight, and the fans and the speckies, they're shocked. And the loudest part of this ground is over to our right, where the St Helens fans are.
This is McCarthy Scarsbrook. Yeah, the body blow of losing Luke Gale before the ball was kicked at the start of the season hasn't helped, but Castleford haven't done badly, to be fair to them, all season.
Move! Line.
Roby waits as Matty Lees plays the ball to him, goes down the short side. Lomax gets it away to Nagama.
Cass have been
That's
good.
the turnover. That's better defensively from Castleford.
Yeah, Cass have been good this year, but when you look at Saints when they're coming onto the ball, it's as though you press fast forward. On TV, they've lost the ball again here.
And it could be a try. It is a try because he has grounded the ball. And the referee will hand this upstairs, I think, as a try. It was Paulo, I think, who got to it. Got the ball up comes out and off the ground and on the deck. And Joseph Paulo has been a substitute in all so far this year. Might have got his first try of the season here.
Well, I think it's poor old Greg Eden again who's involved in this, taking the ball away. Is there a hand in? Is it stripped?
Yes.
Well, Paulo there, he's got his hand on the ball. Definitely looks like he's made some sort of play for it. I know that there'll be some Saints fans sat at home saying, well, that's a loose carry. But when he goes in there, there's hand on the ball. You know, is there a tug on it? Yeah, I think there's a little tug on that ball. Just enough pressure on the ball from Paulo.
They have handed this upstairs as a try on the field, Stuart.
They have, and I think they're just trying to fathom out how it's come out of there. To me, it looks like it's a knock-on, but we've got 2 knock-ons, so I don't think it's going to be a try anyway. It just depends whether the video referee thinks that ball's been stolen. I think he's lost the ball. I think it's a loose carry.
I agree, but I think
there's 2 knock-ons, one either way. So for me, it's no try. Saints head and feet at the scrum.
Well, we put all the eggs in the try basket last night. We put them all in the no try basket tonight. Stand by for the green light.
Well, for what it's worth, I think it's been stripped. I think it's been dead set stripped, but it's not our opinion that matters.
No, it's the opinion of Chris Kendall, the video referee. Here's what he thinks. Tries denied. And how they it's a knock-on. How they restart the game will tell us, but the referee told us with his signal it was a knock-on by Joseph Paulo.
We'll get more pressure for that man as well.
So it was a loose carry.
Loose carry, knock-on by Greg Eden, Saints head and feet.
Saints head and feet because it was a loose carry. But Paulo knocked it on afterwards.
So it must be an only matter of time now before Darryl Powell says, look, let's get James Clare on, because Greg Eden, the Pole lad, is making quite a few mistakes now, which, let me tell you, as a player, that really hurts you.
It's not often they change a winger, is it, when you have one on the bench? You might lose him for a couple of weeks after as well.
Nagama down the short side. Still the pressure is on this Castleford line. Roby to Farge. Paulo denied because he knocked on the floor as well as Eden with the loose carry. Roby trying to pinch one now. Has he got this ball down? No, he hasn't. He's held up.
Held up again. They're doing some extra work. And the Saints getting over the try line on a number of occasions, but working hard after contact to try and turn James Roby over.
Still coming with Matty Lees. Surrender! That's 4 that Castleford have withstood. Here is Farge. Looks for the runners. It's Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. And Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook scores the latest St Helens try. Off the bench. It was his 78th minute match-winning try that maintained the winning run at Wakefield in the second round. It was his 50th try for St Helens. Here's his 51st. And Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook might have put the tin lid on this already.
Well, we don't.
9 minutes into the second half. Castleford 0, St Helens 28.
Well, Greg Eden, who's in the horror shorts for Castleford Tigers. We don't normally say this about the Tigers. They look extremely fragile at the minute. You see, that's just a basic one-on-one. And I'm not even going to say that Oliver Holmes has missed that tackle. He's made that tackle. But the ferocity of the carry from LMS carries him over the line. And this is St Helens all day and all night, this game.
But you know what's always hard when you're defending it? Very difficult when Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook comes onto that ball. He picks his line, it's a good ball. But you can see Oliver Holmes, he gets up, then all of a sudden he starts backing off, defending on his heels. And realistically, it's impossible to stop someone like LMS then.
Well, this for a 30-point lead with Lachlan Coote's 6th kick. He's successful with just 4 of them. He's hit the post and bounced out. 28-0. Look, we might be clutching at scores here. Remember last night? Wakefield trailed 34-12 to Warrington. They staged a remarkable comeback. The Castleford have it in them here.
I think we've got more chance of seeing some spectacular tries from St Helens. A couple of months ago I watched a football match on Sky Sports when Manchester City absolutely demolished Chelsea. And I see similarities here. The clinical finishing with which the Saints have brought this game, whenever they get close to their opponent's try line, they look like they've got several different players who could find a way through their opponent's defence, dragging defenders out of position. I think they call it shape damage in football. Eden's off the field here now, and it's a real tough test here now for the last half an hour to see what a sort of character this Castleford side have got.
Yeah, I think that's a merciful call to take Greg Eden out of the firing line for the time being by coach Darryl Powell. 28-0 St Helens lead. We have just less than half an hour to go. I said what a body blow it was to Castleford to lose Luke Gale at the start of the season. Well, this has been a remarkable run and a remarkable achievement by St Helens this year. Remember, they lost the game's leading try scorer, goal kicker and point scorer from last year, Ben Barber, the man of steel, and Danny Richardson not playing into the St Helens side. Top try scorer, top goal kicker, top point scorer, but look at the way they're playing in 2019.
Well, they look like they're enjoying themselves. They've got a penalty as well here.
The ball steal on the ground. It is not going Castleford's way at all.
They look big, they look powerful. Jay Truman has got some hands in there on Peru. He strips the ball out. The movement from Saints, not only from when they're defending, but the movement when they're attacking. So many options from James Roby when he was the first to get the offload away.
Here comes Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook again. He's looking for yet another one. Huddersfield, like St Helens here, look like they have got the points in the bag tonight. Here's Zeb Taylor.
Oliver, move!
Dropped to the ground by Matt Cook and Oliver Holmes.
Setting up on the right-hand side here.
And that's the way they're going. This is Matty Lees. McShane inevitably. First in the tackle. Roby again, fires the pass to Farge. Farge gives it to Lomax. Lomax with a little dummy. So Sonny Maffeo was in late then on Lomax. It got even worse for them. Lees shrugs off Holmes. Holmes sticks with him. Last tackle here for St Helens. Farge. Oh, Jesse Sonny missed him. That ball was knocked backwards. That was a good job. Minikin has it back for Castleford. Here comes Matautia. I can't remember the St Helens line being threatened but once in this match.
No, they just need to get through some sets, don't they? Get into some decent field position, and that's because they've been so dominant in the field position. Eddie, the way that they're firing in, you can see Dominic Peru there. Things that you can see is a Castleford jersey exposed. He's going into hurt him. Now they've lost the ball.
Everything's on the front foot.
Everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong.
They're exhausted, Castleford Tigers, because St Helens they've won the energy battle. St Helens, they've managed this game perfectly. When it's been their time to defend, they've had more energy in the tank than Castleford Tigers because of what they've done when they've had the ball. Alex Foster, playing in the centre this evening, been given the task to try and look after Mark Percival, but all over the field. The players in the St Helens shirts have outplayed the Cath Tigers players.
Heads in, wait, heads in. Shot clock off, ball. Out.
Roby from the base of the scrum to Lomax. Here is Lachlan Coote. There's movement everywhere for St Helens. Players running into space, holding their space. This is Percival. Percival gets another. Mark Percival gets another for St Helens. They are winning this match with ease. 32 points to 0. They haven't had many days and many nights like this at Castleford in the recent past. This is developing into a nightmare for them.
Well, you look at that big fat zero next to Cassie's name, and I think that what Saints have got, they're playing on the back of strong defence. Castleford turning the ball over far too cheaply. And when you've got players the calibre of Mark Percival, who's so powerful, he's quick, he knows how to finish a try. He certainly looks to set his winger free, but when he sees this try line in front of him, he knows he's got the pace, the power, the footwork to get over the line. And like you say, Eddie, it's been all about Saints in this game.
It's been a special performance from St Helens. But look at Alex Foster there. He assumes and presumes that tackle is completed, and the offload from Lachlan Coote catches him, trying to get back on side, trying to get ready for the next tackle, but unfortunately for Cass, fortunately for St Helens, Mark Percival, he gets the ball to close to try.
Well, no other club can match the record of St Helens on this ground. It's played 14, won 11 in the past decade. As Lachlan Coote lines up another conversion attempt, unfortunately for the scoreboard operators, that drifts wide as well. 2 wins on this ground last year, 40-18, 36-18 in the Cup, as we look again at Percival's latest try. And St Helens have inflicted 2 of Castleford's heaviest home defeats in the Super League era. You go back to the 13th of August 2006, Saints won here 72-4. April 2009, they won here 68-22. They have been across the ground before, but not recently. This is not the Castleford Tigers that we've come to know and love.
Well, we're going to get to see here whether St Helens are different to the Warrington Wolves, whether there's a ruthless streak here now. Can they continue to play in the last 20-plus minutes as they did in the first 20 minutes? Alex Worms is back on the field as he did to start the match, and they just continue to roll forward. And then when they get into good field position, wow, it's just amazing how sharp they look. Lachlan Coote, well, I bet he can't believe his start at St Helens wasn't the best. He's lost possession here. Foster gets it. Boy, he's grown in confidence. His kicking game now looks like one of the best in the competition, and he's simply loving his hands on the wall.
Castleford now have the possession, and they had the zero tackle there. They're just inside their own half of the field. They may as well throw caution to the wind here.
Move, Louis!
And that's when they're at the best. Cas Tigers, they've just simply not been allowed to do it.
Surrender!
But that scoreline from Huddersfield.
The alternate view, though, Eddie, is not to do that. To think, let's play conservative like we try and want to play for the rest of the season, rather than playing, you know, I don't know, an exhibition game for the last 20 minutes and hope to source spectacular tries. They may choose a different tactic to rebuild slowly.
Well, they may. They might also lose a few friends if they do that amongst their supporters. They want to see some reaction.
Oh, look at that for a shot from Walmsley.
He still manages to get the ball away, though. As Millington, he finds Rankin. He's wrestled to the ground by Lomax. That's tackle number 5. Last one here. Can they force a repeat set? At least. McShane. Wide it goes. Truman. Decent enough kick. Lachlan Coote deals with it, though. It's difficult. Bouncing ball. That's as close as Castleford have come.
Well, I just think that they look so comfortable, don't they? Again, Tommy Makinson recognising that there's some line speed from Cassie, chooses to come back in behind the ruck area.
Here's a question for you, to any of the three of you who'd like to answer it. Is it St Helens' brilliance, or Castleford just having one of those off days?
I think St Helens are as hot as they could ever be here, Eddie. They are red hot. They really are in great form. And matching their attack with the defence. Septena cuts through the middle.
And he's given it to Lomax. It's a procession for Lomax, is it? No, he just stuttered a little bit there, but the danger's still not gone. There's a bunch of Castleford players racing to get back in position. Oh! And Michael Shenton has picked up the interception. He's checking whether he was offside. Here comes Regan Grace. Regan Grace goes down. Michael Shenton will get the try for Castleford. Michael Shenton against his former club. It was an interception special, and he got about 10-15 metres downfield. He looked over his shoulder and he thought, am I offside? Am I going to get the whistle? No, he didn't. Regan Grace did all he could and fell flat in his backside, and Castleford break the St Helens defence for the first time tonight. It looked odds on for Lomax. It became odds-on for Shenton.
Well, you've got to credit the Cass defence for getting back and preventing Lomax from scoring. Michael Shenton, as you said, looked over his shoulder. What about Regan Grace? The effort to get back. Michael Shenton, nice and composed, just uses some footwork, beats the youngster to get in, but good signs, and that was the loudest cheer of the night from this Cass fans.
Just to be onside, Stuart, there, then what does Michael Shenton need on that play the ball?
He needs a foot on it on the goal line. With the play the ball being within the 10 metres, he has to have at least 1 foot on the goal line.
Well, no doubt we will check whether he was onside as Rankin adds the extras, but we mustn't be churlish. We mustn't be churlish. Castleford are on the ball.
I'll give him that for getting back and stopping Johnny Lomax from scoring the try. And then all of a sudden, Michael Shenton...
It's offside, isn't it? So if you're in front of the kicker for a try, they disallow it. That is the point, really.
Well, that's why he looked over his shoulder. He probably knew he was offside. He almost gave himself up there. And Justin Holbrook knew he was offside.
Well, he recognises offside, and I'll let you, Phil, just walk down the gantry here and tell Darryl Powell that should have been chalked off.
Sure, it's not a try.
It won't make a difference to Darryl Powell's mood, even though they've got rid of that 0 at the side of Castleford Tigers' name in this particular fixture. Justin Holbrook's side have completely outplayed Castleford to the point where it's in stages it has been embarrassing for those Tigers players. Proud players that they are, there's still a quarter of this game to go. and St Helens end up with the ball from the kick-off.
And the ball comes free.
Play on.
And it's play on,
Zero.
says James Child. This is 0. That was a loose carry, so here's Matatia. They'll be happy they've got 6 points because they've only been nilled at home once previously in Super League. That was against their arch local rivals Wakefield. 2006, they lost here by 18 points to 0. Speaking of the local rivals, how about that next week? Leeds will entertain Castleford. Thursday at 7, Sky Sports Arena. Depends what happens in France tomorrow, where Leeds will be in the table, because Huddersfield will certainly climb above them tonight. Leeds go into Perpignan rock bottom. You'll see that match tomorrow, live on Sky Sports Action at 5. Catalan Dragons and Leeds.
Big games all over the fixture list.
Well, vital games as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for the big boys of Leeds, it's huge. Is there a comeback on?
It's a long way to come back, but certainly positive steps, Ed.
Oh, the ball has come free. Turnover, the chance they're on.
Eddie, you're right. The ball's come free, and he's tackled James Clare by 4 men.
For me, though, now it's what Cass do in this next set of 6. Can they restrict the meters that Saints make here? Yeah, you're right. To get 4 players back around here, look at that.
2, 3,
4 players. It's incredible, really. 61 minutes on the clock. I think the dominance of Saints, whether it be the outside backs in Makinson and Grace and Lachlan Coote at the back, carrying the ball forward, whether it be the forwards that just ramp up onto the ball and get over that advantage line with so much ease, and then James Roby plays off the back of that, along with his half-backs, Fage and Lomax.
Looks like Kevin Nagama needs some attention to a head injury here. They'll tape it up first of all, and then doubtless they will just check for a concussion problem. Justin Holbrook has come down to the sideline.
Jesse was playing ball there now. Yeah, all right.
And now the debate will start about whether he should be taken off to be checked more thoroughly.
No idea. I always like these sort of players in the corner. Who's going to line up and
Keep
take
holding
the
your
ball?
tens, guys.
Let me tell you, these are the toughest ones that you're involved in. And for Cass, you know that for Saints, you know that the Cass players are going to fly out the line. Justin Holbrook, Ian Talbot, the coaches involved at Saints know that this is a big period, and a big test of the character in this Castleford side.
One, move! Hold the 10, Adam, hold!
Well, I suppose the Castleford will be, and this will help, a penalty after they play the ball. I was going to say, I suppose Castleford will be looking for some retribution here in the last 20 minutes of the match. They'll be looking for some pride back.
Wait, Jake.
Because as you say, they are a proud club.
They're a proud club that just haven't turned up. I certainly thought that Castleford Tigers would at least run St Helens close, if not take the points. I turned up here thinking St Helens can't possibly play at the same standard and level every single week, as we say so many times on this gantry, but they have this evening.
Rankin finds space for Foster. Again, they're in numbers, the Saints, and how about that defence again?
So on the other side, they get 4 players involved in the tackle. On this side, then, when it's a long shift from Cass, again, 4 players turn up. Even when a couple of Saints players bite in, look at the movement in blue shirts. You'll see 4 players again involved in this tackle.
5, Terry.
Yeah, well,
5, Terry.
Well, I'm just saying then that Lachlan Coote, the number 23, didn't quite get involved, Eddie.
Well, he's the man that's been involved on the right and on the left for St Helens.
They pride, look at the way they celebrate that. And a lot of clubs do that. I'm not just saying it's St Helens on their own, but when players are on top form in attack, they celebrate defence equally as well, don't they?
Eddie, everyone wants to attack. That's the good side of rugby league. Defence is the hard side. You've got no idea what the defenders, what the attackers are going to do. They'll put you in positions that you don't want to be in.
So here's Percival.
Hold.
Will McCarthy Scarsbrook has made a telling contribution. He's now left the field for the time being. Ashworth is on.
I want to say it again, I haven't heard Weldon Road. I haven't heard this stadium, I haven't heard Castleford Tigers this quiet in a long, long time.
Go quicker, Junior!
I think they know what we know, that they have been Just a little bit outclassed tonight.
Well, what it does if you're a cast player, it goes in the memory bank, doesn't it?
Oh, Lomax has broken through again. Zebte was waiting for the pass that never came.
And Matalti trying to strip that ball one-on-one, but Lomax not giving it up.
Here comes Lachlan Coote down the short side again. Taya gets it this time, and he flings the ball infield. Matalti grabbed at it and then just knocked it forward. It is just not Castleford's night.
Well,
They'll just have to put this away at the end of today. They'll just say, let's forget it, learn the lesson, move on.
But there's a good way to go in this game as well. That energy system that I was talking about, the levels of enthusiasm that you can muster up when you're tired, you're a little bit more lethargic, and those lightning quick reactions get that bit slower.
Wait, Theo. Okay, Peter. Wait, Theo, wait. Heads in, Peter. Shot clock
Forget
off.
2017, Castleford beat St Helens here 53-10 in a Challenge Cup tie, May 2017. It was the last game before Justin Holbrook arrived. And no wonder he's smiling. No wonder he's smiling, because Peru could be over for another here. James Child's not 100% convinced, but what's the decision on the field? It's a try, and he says that Dominic Peru has got his second try of the night.
Well, he deserves. He's worked extremely hard, one of St Helens' best. James Roby bobbles and fumbles with the ball in the previous tackle, but secures possession, and is the driving determination of Peru enough to get that ball down? Doesn't look like it is. Hard to see as the play moves on.
It's gone up as a try. There's nothing there to say he hasn't.
Well, not so far, unless this angle shows us something different. It looks initially like it's on somebody's arm, but then it disappears out of view. So,
and he's moving forward.
He's moving forward.
I think he powers his way over the line. Look, you can see Cass trying to prevent that. I think the tip of the ball.
Just there now as the shoulder comes across. As I say, it's gone up as a try.
Yeah, we go for the super zoom.
The video referee has to find sufficient evidence to overturn it.
I think the tip of the ball is under his wing, and it's just on the grass. You can see that when he rolls over, it rolls over Cass's arm. But it's a try for me.
Here comes Chris Kendall's version of events. It's given. Dominic Peru gets his second try of the night on his 70th Super League St Helens appearance. A try here last May.
He works extremely hard, doesn't he, Dominic Peru? He knows what he has to do for his teammates, and he's prepared to do it. Does the untidy, scruffy stuff. Ends up being a dummy half. As I said, there's a little bit of a fumble from James Roby on that tackle. The competitive spirit he's got, he doesn't want to just simply give up on the play. Collects it, and Peru powers over.
So here comes Lachlan Coote to try and add the extra two. This time he's missed with a couple. He's missed with another. I suppose when you're scoring tries for fun, you don't need a kicker.
No, the pressure really isn't on him. Do you know, if there was a player of the month in the Betfred Super League, I think Dominic Peru would win it for March. His rate of improvement in the last 18 months is phenomenal for a player at his age. You sometimes see that from a player who's 18 to 21. But he's significantly got better, whilst also being a mature and experienced seasoned player, and now contributing both in attack and defence. Very valuable member as a second row partner now for that St Helens side.
And we forget he came over as a centre and had to toil and graft and looked like he was on the outside for a spell, but he got his head down, perfected his game, just tweaked and moulded it to the wants and needs of Justin Holbrook.
And he's just scored his first 2 tries in a match in Super League. He previously managed 2 tries in a game for the Sydney Roosters in the World Club Series in 2016. For St Helens against the Roosters in 2016.
5, Oliver! Hold, go.
So, as they say, Dominic Peru, the boy done well.
Surrender!
And Eddie, you look at the meters that they made then, Saints. I think right across the board, haven't they? They've been really, really good. They've been strong. They're all playing well as a team. When one man gets forward, then the next player gets forward, then on the back of that they get forward.
Oh, that's a break from James Clare, but he's on his own against, it seems, the entire St Helens side.
He just ran right through the defence of St Helens, the man that's replaced Greg Eden.
This is Rankin, that's Millington, here's Matautia, now Junior Moores, that's knocked down. It will be brought back for the scrum, head and feed to Castleford.
Another set of 6 and just that 25 metres from Saints' line. Matt Percival, sorry, when he comes in to close down the big powerful Justin Moores, from tipping the ball on outside, as soon as he's made that decision, Matt Percival, he knows that he's got to make a play, he's got to touch the ball, he's got to wrap Junior Moores up.
So Castleford's head and feed, don't forget on Sunday we'll see the Toronto Wolfpack at Halifax in the Betfred Championship, Sunday at 3 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena. Joining the commentary will be the England Women's International Jodie Cunningham on Sunday.
Very sloppy again. Jesse Senni-Lefeo, normally one of those players who gets it right when he tries to engage the defenders. A little turn-up play there. You can see he just pulls out of it. He's trying to just hold that ball up too much. Looking at linking up with Truman, who in turn would then get the ball out the back to Peter Matautia, and he knows he's made the mistake. Normally good on those shift plays, aren't they, Castleford, but they're just not coming off. The amount of times that the man who's passing the ball, it's gone to ground.
A reluctant shake of the head from Jesse Senni-Lefeo. I think there'll be a few bits of head scratching and head shaking tonight.
Well, it's very unlike Cass, isn't it? They're normally very clinical with the ball.
Well, teams do have days and nights like this, and as I say, they just have to say, well, it's a bad day at the office, we've got to move on next week.
And they'll meet them again.
And they will meet them again. They meet them twice. They're back at the Dacia Magic Weekend, as I say, in May at Anfield. So revenge maybe will be sweet at the home of the Reds. But tonight, they'll work on it, and they've got Leeds to come next Thursday. What a game to bounce back for in terms of local bragging rights that will be.
Well, it's some motivation, isn't it, for them to get the performance right, but let's be right as well. This Saints side have made them make mistakes with the strong defence.
Oh, St Helens have been sensational, and they continue to be with Thompson.
Move, Jesse!
Here is Farge. Movement everywhere. That's the turnover. It's not a bad place for Saints to turn over possession on the opposition line when you're 36-6 ahead.
Well, Cass have just got to hang in here now. Obviously, you can't see them scoring 30 points now in the final, just over 10 minutes to go. But what they can do is finish the game well, finish the game on their terms, try to create some chances and take something into that derby next week.
I would imagine, without looking at the record books, that either of you two have been involved in nights like this.
Yes, Barry more than me.
How does the coach, how does the players, over the course of the next 7 days, turn this around?
Well, a little bit of honesty, some sit-downs. Let's be honest, they're not going to have a crisis meeting, Castleford. They're not going to talk about the season going away from them, as St Helens give a penalty away here and give Castleford some possession and some position. But what they will do is they'll look at everything and say, how can we improve? And we've said it many times over the years, it's not about winning every week, it's about winning at the right times. And Castleford, in a pressure game at home, when they're expected to at least compete and do well, just simply haven't turned up.
There's another loose pass, but Alex Foster retains possession for his side and gets away from the first challenge. 6 to go as well.
A penalty as well here
to Castleford, so this will help them.
Lachlan Cook just involved then, just not allowing Cass to play the ball quickly. It was back to 0, but now they get the penalty. Set up the field position. Here's Liam Watts back on the field.
Here he goes. Finds Millington. Ashworth in quickly with Knowles.
Move, Morgan!
It's McShane. Truman. Matautia. Jesse Senni-Lefeo flicks the ball round the corner to Shenton. Another pass that goes to ground and they lose momentum. That Cook does well, and the pressure from Thompson to hang on, and Taylor and Walmsley. Three of the biggest men in the St Helens jerseys. McShane, Watts, Rankin, flat pass, managed to hang on to that brilliantly. And he'll play the ball with Moores to Rankin again. Here's Watts, picked out by Walmsley. Again, the ball stays with Castleford, but a little scruffily. Here's Matautia, Truman, Shenton.
They're going nowhere though, St Helens. St Helens aren't troubled.
Cross and backwards, isn't it?
Well, look at them. They all know what each other's expecting and wants them to do. Cass are offloading at will.
Truman does again to McShane. He does again to Shenton. And Shenton fancies something, gets it away to Rankin. Rankin goes back the other way. There was a man in the defensive line, and then they give it away to Morgan Knowles.
Do you know, that's brilliant defence, isn't it? They're hurrying Cass, they're forcing them to offload the ball, they're forcing them into making mistakes. When they're passing the ball, they're loose passes that's going on the ground, yet they still have so much energy to get forward. The energy battles has definitely been in Saints' favour. Morgan Knowles, one of those players who's put his hand up to represent Great Britain at the end of the year. Had a tremendous game. And look at this, Tommy Makinson getting involved, looking to link up.
We've got a man on the overlap wide. It's Regan Grace. It's Mark Percival with speed. It's Mark Percival who's got Lomax inside in, and Lomax goes over for another St Helens try. Right behind the posts. Right behind the posts for Johnny Lomax. Well, he got a try last week at Huddersfield. He got his 90th career try against Leeds in round 3. He's got his coach up off his seat, and he has added to the Castleford Tigers supporters' woes. 5 tries in the year for Johnny Lomax. St Helens have been red hot tonight, and not in the red V.
Shock is the word that I can conjure up when you look at the images of, first of all, the players and the crowd, and the fans turned up. Everybody is shocked, and you become a bit blasé about the quality of play and rugby league that you're watching. Mark Percival gets on the outside, has enough strength to just do away with the cover defence, and Johnny Lomax tracking. There isn't too many games where you don't mention, whilst you're watching St Helens, Tommy Makinson. He hasn't had that much to do, but that, for me, is because the work has been shared out amongst everybody. Great team performance from Saints.
8th try for Saints, 7 different try scorers. Comprehensive, classic. And the extras this time added by Lachlan Coote. It's 42-6 to St Helens with just over 5 minutes to go.
Well, Johnny Lomax scores the try, and I think it's amazing the thing that you look at Tommy Makinson, who set it up. 27 years of age, he only made his international debut last year. He's a tremendous player, not only scoring tries but creating opportunities and that space for Mark Percival to break through.
Out on the full. Well, if it was going to get any worse for Castleford, it just has.
It's very difficult to say this, but I think if Darryl Powell was allowed to throw in the towel, I think he would. I think he'd give it a mercy call for his players. I don't think for 1 minute his players are going to throw the white flag. They're going to turn it up. But they've just been absolutely dominated, outplayed, outclassed.
Sometimes, Barry, the overreacting sport. St Helens scored 40 points here last season, and yet Castleford was still good enough to finish in the top 4 place. They finished 3rd. You know, throughout the course of a season, teams have terrible results. No team will probably go the season unbeaten. St Helens might have a day with an off day, but Castleford have just got to hold it here together for the last 5 minutes.
And this is Luke Thompson. He gives the ball to Theo Farge on a forward pass.
How good's his footwork, Luke Thompson, for such a big fella? Very quick, good on his feet, gets through the line, looking to offload the ball to Theo Farge, and you can see it goes forward. Theo Farge pushing up really strong with him.
Well, another adjective that comes to mind to describe St Helens' performance tonight is ruthless. They haven't taken their foot off the throat.
Eddie, they've been exceptional.
They have. It's been a sensational performance from them.
From the kick-off, they've run hard, they've got through the defence.
Looked like he was playing flanker then, Regan Grace, when he joined that scrum.
I think he went scrum half, yeah. Thinking about the other chord, yeah.
But he bound onto the side of the scrum.
And just to pick up on the point that you made, I agree with you, Phil. You're not going to go through the season and perform at the highest of level. What you can do as a team, and a good team, is you can learn, you can grow, you can get better from those tough times. But the thing I was saying is, I bet that Darryl Powell is thinking, right, well, we've got the lesson, there it is, how much more do we need to suffer?
This is Liam Watts, round the corner he goes to keep the movement going to Jake Truman. Truman is tackled by Matty Lees. Down the left-hand side they come again with Matautia. Matautia, how about that for a save?
He's been good.
From Lachlan Coote, he's been brilliant. Brilliant this, wow. Well, they say they're going to play at Anfield again. Maybe Jurgen Klopp will look at him as a goalie. It's almost a year since Saints lost a game away from home now in Super League, April the 15th, 2018. They lost 20-24 just up the road from here at Wakefield. Huddersfield have won 40-8, their best win of the season by far. That's an obvious thing to say. Regan Grace, St Helens a human, after all.
Well, I'm sure that Justin Holbrook won't be too critical of his winger, Regan Grace. The ball goes above him. He found himself in the centre position, just moved in. Mark Percival was stood out on the wing, but I think the mission accomplished for Justin and all his coaching team, knowing that this could have been anything this game. They've been such a dangerous prospect, turning up here against the Castleford side, who only lost one game, that have entertained us over the last few years, but they just couldn't get it right tonight in this game.
And the thing is, St Helens sitting pretty at the top of the table, 7 played, 7 wins now, and they know that this year under the top 5 system, if they finish top of the table, one duff performance in the playoffs will not see them go out, because as top dogs they would get a second bite at the cherry. Terence, we are a minute and 15 seconds away from the end of this match. You have a plethora, which means quite a few St Helens players, I'm sure, to choose as your man of the match. Who's it going to be?
Well, there's been so many good performances, hasn't there, for Saints. Lachlan Coote, Johnny Lomax, James Roby, who I think's only just gone off the field. Jake Truman goes.
Jake Truman's looking for a consolation. He gets one. Jake Truman puts Castleford into double figures. It is consolation and nothing more for the Tigers. So no need to really wax lyrical, but we will wax lyrical about your Betfred man of the match. Who is he?
Yeah, well, it's not going to be a man in a cash shirt, obviously. So I mentioned Lachlan Coote, Johnny Lomax, James Roby. But the man I'm going for tonight, who I think's been absolutely sensational in both defence and attack, is Dominic Peru. Come up with a couple of breaks, come up with a couple of tries. I think it's a solid performance from him, and the forwards from Saints have been so dominant carrying the ball. Yeah, they concede a try at the very end, but my man of the match is that man, Dominic Peru.
Okay, so we'll be hearing from him in around about 10 seconds' time. Jordan Rankin to put a touch of respectability. There's the siren. This is the last kick of the match. A touch of respectability, nothing much more on the scoreline. 12 points to 42, a 30-point victory for the Saints, but in all truth, it could have been much, much greater than that. And that man will take no consolation from the fact that his team scored the last try of the game. He is a proud man, and he has been well and truly beaten tonight.
Well, that look, that reaction absolutely says it all. And when he went down, walked across the pitch before, he was frustrated. I've never seen Darryl Powell act like that. But he knows that he was up against a red-hot Saints side. And let me tell you, this Cast side, they can score points. The Saints have restricted them to just 12 points. Probably switched off at the end there. But how powerful Saints were across the board, carrying the ball forward, carrying it into the heart of Castleford, landing on the front foot, playing the ball really quickly, and they have nothing to play off Castleford. I've never seen Saints for a long time now come up with a performance like that where they've absolutely outplayed, outmuscled, outfought their opponents, and they've got so many players, so many star players that can cause a lot of trouble.
So they have they've dominated the opponents tonight. It could have been any one of the 17 men in the blue jerseys of St Helens, but the Betfred man of the match tonight is Dominic Peru. First 2 tries in Super League, Angela, for him, and he gets the salver.
There you go. Yeah, 2 tries in Super League, a great defensive and an attacking effort from you, and a silver salver to go with it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been working towards this win. Obviously a hard training session this week, and it paid off in the end. So yeah, happy to get the 2 points.
You're quite surprised yourself about the way you were able to hold this together in terms of making sure, well, not to the very end really, they scored that try, and maybe that Shenton try was a little bit offside as well. So a good defensive effort.
Yeah, definitely. We try to keep them scoreless, but obviously, a bit disappointing towards the end as well. But, like I said, we're just happy to get the 2 points and continue that, the season on a high.
You're running hot. What's the key to all of this for St Helens?
Sorry?
Really running hot. What's the key to it?
It's just pretty much working hard for each other. Obviously, last year was a bit disappointing towards the end, and not winning them important games. But like I said, it's a good start to the season. So yeah, hopefully we keep it going.
People were expecting this to be a very, very tight game. It was anything but.
Yeah, definitely. We're like I said, we train hard all season, all week, and we're lucky to get the the win. We just kept working hard for each other, like I said, and just hopefully we keep that going towards the end.
Dominic, I think it was more than luck that got you that win, and we've got I think somebody's going to hand it to you, is it?
Thank you, mate.
Where's it going to go, Dominic?
I'd like to donate to Saints Foundation. Cheers.
Thank you. And we're going to have a quick word with Louis as well. Louis on his best behaviour tonight, and also you scored a try as well, and the smile on your face, that was amazing. You must have enjoyed that moment.
No, always like scoring tries, but always just like a good team performance by the boys.
Good team performance and a very solid team performance. You must like that scoreline.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think we're building as a unit, and we want to keep building each week. And our defence is doing well at the moment, and our attack is good as well.
Quite a lot of people were expecting things to change quite a lot for you when you lost Ben Barber. He was outstanding last year. You've not missed him at all.
No, Benny's obviously a phenomenal talent, but obviously we recruited really well in all the boys, and they've all slotted in magnificently. So we're just building, like I said, and hopefully we can go keep going one better this year.
Can anybody stop you, Louis?
Oh, well, I don't know. We've just got to keep building. I don't know.
You enjoyed that. Thank you. Louis. We've got Justin Holbrook as well. Justin, we saw your smiling face up there. You must have enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, I did. Obviously a great win from our side tonight, and I'm really proud of the boys.
You must be proud of that, the defensive effort as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I thought everything was good tonight. I thought, all our players, we knew we had to be good tonight, and we were. And as I said, credit to our players.
There was that Shenton try, and we could see that you thought that was offside. It did look offside as well.
Yeah.
You give them that.
Well, no, I wouldn't. You'd check it, wouldn't you? You got a video ref and you check the onside, and it was 5 metres offside. So I was disappointed with that, but everyone's going to have things to complain about. But the performance was great tonight against a dangerous side, and we didn't let them be dangerous tonight. And that's, as I said, a credit to how hard this side's working.
So it seemed everything seemed to stick for you tonight and didn't for them.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Yep.
Very, very short answer to that one as well. Very short question as well. So next week as well, Hull KR, they've just lost, so they'll be coming back smarting.
Yeah, they will. They've been hard working side this year as well. So we'll obviously enjoy this week and get ready for Hull next week.
I did just ask Louis, will you ever be beaten this week? And you're not this year. You're not going to say you won't be beaten, but you must be feeling very confident that you've got the right team here and it's clicking.
Oh yeah, we're getting better every week, and that's a pleasing thing, and as coaches and as players, we're not content with anything. We know we've got to keep working hard, and the boys have got a choice to do that, and they're doing it. So I couldn't be happier.
Thank you very much, Justin.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
But Daryl Powell now is going to come and talk to us. Daryl, a disappointing night to say the least. Can you kind of put your finger on what went wrong there?
Well, the team on the other side of the field were pretty hot tonight. I thought we were poor. Probably a couple of reasons for that. I'm not going to make any excuses. I thought they were superb, and some of the stuff from us was just well short of our standards, and some of it a little bit embarrassing, to be honest. So, we've got to find a way to get to the level that we saw from St Helens tonight, because we were a fair bit off it tonight.
Yeah, that first half as well. You looked particularly disappointed when you came off and crossed the field just before half-time.
Oh, well, I thought we did some crazy things there, just throwing the ball to St Helens players, and potentially could have been 12-0 at half-time. 18-0 looks a little bit different, and then our second half was there was not an awful lot of resilience there, which is clearly disappointing.
And lots of things stuck for them that didn't for you. It seemed everything seemed to fall to ground.
Oh, well, when you're playing well and you know, and everybody's in form, then that tends to happen, doesn't it? And for us, you know, we just couldn't find a way to unlock their defence, and we made way too many errors, and defensively we were pretty poor tonight. There were some shockers in there, but I just think their physicality, you know, they're probably a little bit better than everybody else at the moment in the comp, and you know, everybody else is trying to find a way to match what they throw at teams.
So this isn't a moment for panicking, is it? You've got Leeds next week as well, you've got to lift up for.
Well, you've got a game every week, haven't you? I mean, it's disappointing, clearly. You know, we've you look at defeats and try and learn as much as you can from them, but there'll be a fair few lessons from that one, that's for sure.
Brilliant, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, Leeds and then Wigan next up for Castleford Tigers, Hull Kingston Rovers and Catalan next up for St Helens. A St Helens side that have registered their 7th win in 2019. And what a way to do it, 42 points to 12 at the home of the Castleford Tigers. First home defeat for the Tigers this season. A totally dominant St Helens display. We're going to have a look at the stats, and they will reflect the dominance of the visitors. Almost 500 metres more than the home side. Possession heavily in favour of St Helens. They made plenty of errors too, the visitors, and still racked up that 30-point winning margin. Okay, I left John Wells at half-time with St Helens leading 18-0. I said to you the first score of the second half may prove to be all-important. It went the way of St Helens 2 minutes into that second half, John, and it was a cascade after that.
Yes, it did, Brian, and we'll come back to that try in a couple of minutes. Let's refresh ourselves then of the second half tries, because there's a couple of comments in the post-match that are saying, you know, things come off for St Helens and didn't come off for the Castleford Tigers tonight. I don't buy that. That first half performance laid the platform for what came in the second half. This was Zeb Taylor on 42 minutes, 24 points to 0. Then Louis Crosses on 48 minutes, 28 points to 0. And it's a procession at the point where Mark Percival increased the scores to 32 points without reply. And I'll say again, it's not that things come off for Saints and don't come off for Castleford Tigers. It's something that is built on with a really efficient, hard-working, intense first 40 minutes that laid the foundations for St Helens. This was the try that Angela was discussing with Justin Holbrook. It goes down as a try, doesn't it? But it's not an awful lot of consolation. Dominic Peru just after the hour mark, 6 points to 36, and then 2 late tries, which will be particularly disappointing for Darryl Powell and the coaching staff at the Tigers, given what had gone before. And he mentioned in his post-match interview with Angela, didn't he, about resilience, and these will be the bits that really hurt. The long-range stuff, and yes, there's an element of fatigue in there, obviously, for the Castleford Tigers. The last laugh, if you can call it that, was a nice piece of work from Jake Truman. On any other given day, people are lauding that try. That was actually a really, really well-worked try, but you know, an awful lot in vain. Clearly a below-par performance from the Castleford Tigers. Clearly also a very, very good performance from St Helens, who do look, as Darryl Powell said, that little bit better than everybody else at the moment. So the game breaker, we come back to where we started, Brian, and we were talking about whether it took 5 minutes or 20 minutes in that second, as the second half started. It needed to be the Castleford Tigers who scored first to really put a full stop and draw a line under what had been a completely dominant and efficient first 40 minutes from St Helens. Well, it took us 2 minutes to get the answer to that one, didn't it? And it was a beautifully worked play. We picked this up a play before. There's nothing out of the ordinary here. And this is what we were saying at half-time, Brian. It's not a complete gulf in class or quality or any bit of sublime skill. It's just first of all, look at the movement at pre-play. All these guys in motion, all adjusting for what's coming. And then to underline the point once again, it is nothing to do with a difference in class or skill. It is just the execution and that attention to detail, something that I'll be asking Lachlan Coote about later. And you really put, you know, the epitome of that is this from Matty Lees. The convincing nature of that line makes sure that Jake Truman cannot leave his post. He has to account for this line run. He can only leave late. Now, what that does, because Lomax is on his way out, he's now travelling at speed. The next person he's really going to affect in the defensive line is Alex Foster. What does that do? Opens up a great big hole for Percival. Really well executed, nothing fancy, Oh, Zebte rather crossed himself, didn't he? It was Zebte try. But again, we underline the point. It isn't something that we've never seen before. It's just run an awful lot better than we've seen in a long time. Great performance for St Helens. They remain unbeaten, and what was a benchmark game, in Darryl Powell's words, for the Castleford Tigers ended up being a little bit of a reality check, Brian.
Yes, absolutely, John. Thanks very much. Here's what it does to the Super League table. The Castleford Tigers now 2 points behind the Warrington Wolves, 4 points behind St Helens, all of those having played 7 games. Salford would have a chance to close in on Castleford with a win against Wigan on Sunday. Well, I'm rejoined in studio by Phil Clark, and Barry McDermott has saddled up alongside him. Boys, you win no trophies in March, but you can fire a shot across the bow of your Super League opposition, and St Helens did that in spectacular style, Barry.
I'm very impressed with St Helens. There's no doubt that they came here and they took to task Castleford Tigers, but I can't help feeling a little bit disappointed in Cas Tigers, and I'm listening to the honest appraisal from Darryl Powell. His side, in most facets of the game, failed to compete, and they'll be very disappointed. And Phil and I had the debate probably on 65, 70 minutes about the damage it can do to your season. It's not going to impact your season massively. It just means when you're in a big game and you have those residual memories of A, what it looks like and what it feels like when it goes wrong, and B, what you need to fix those up. So I'm sort of a mixed bag at the minute. I'm still processing it, but no doubt that St Helens proved to be that they are the best team in the competition.
He's jumping to get in behind you.
Well, at half-time, I bumped into a Castleford fan and he said to me, St Helens will go through the season unbeaten. I said, no, I don't think so. He said, I'm telling you they will do. I said, well, you can be my guest at the grand final with VIP hospitality.
You paying?
If St Helens, I will do. If St Helens can win 29 games, it doesn't work like that. In 2 months' time, they meet again at the Magic Weekend. And not only will Castleford narrow that gap of 30 points, they've got a very good chance of winning that game. We've seen the highs and lows. You have to ride those out throughout the course of the season. But Castleford were poor tonight. We haven't seen that for a long time.
That's the point I want to ask you now. They're going to bring down the curtain on the Magic Weekend, last game on the Sunday. How bad were the Castleford Tigers? And you've got to put it in there, because we've been looking, people in St Helens will be saying, well, you're taking away from our performance. No, Darryl Powell has called parts of his team's performance embarrassing. How bad did it get at stages for them?
Well, I think it got bad in the first 10 to 15 minutes because they couldn't physically cope with their opponents at making ground, and basically that's how the game starts, doesn't it? One team tries to make 50, 60 metres, the other one tries to do likewise. But from the very start, St Helens tilted the field. They were running downhill. It was so much of a physical advantage for them at the early parts of the game, and Castleford need to find a way of coping with that.
I feel for Greg Eden, and I've been there myself as a player. Now, Darryl Powell as a coach has a job to do on Greg Eden, to put an arm around Greg Eden. He ended up hooking him in the game. He's one of those players, when it goes badly wrong for Greg Eden, it goes spectacularly wrong. When it goes right, it goes magnificently right.
I said after his first mistake, you've got to handle and almost wear the bad, because when he's good, he's absolutely outstanding. You see Darryl Powell, and
I don't know if I've seen that before for a long time. Have you?
I've seen that, and when I was a player underneath him, and he was my coach, and he was very honest and always forthright. He knows the game, he understands the game. He will be Phil, he will be fuming. He will be fuming. He's a passionate man, he's a passionate cast man. He will be fuming, but once his temperature goes down a little bit, his emotion starts to drop, he'll know the next job at hand is picking Greg Eden up, because you never know in this sport of rugby league, squads of about 25, 30 players, at some point he's going to have to go back to Greg Eden. So his next job is fixing him, building him back up and getting him ready for the next time he needs to use
the
him.
point you're making is you haven't seen a coach delay kick-off like that by walking across the wall.
It needs to be a bit quicker, probably, doesn't it?
One-man pitch invasion. It's worth remembering, though, Greg Eden, 67 tries in 56 Castleford appearances. The good far outweighs the bad. OK, what about St Helens? Johnny Lomax, fairly composed and complete performance from him as well?
I thought that the spine of the team, and I said it in commentary, you don't often go through a game and not mention Tommy Makinson, but the spine, I thought that Lomax, Lachlan Coote, I think that's Lachlan Coote's best game in a Saints shirt, were just really calm. But going back to what Phil said, We often talk about the ruck speed and the dominance and how much an advantage it is when you're playing the ball quicker than your opponent. It just means everything's on the front foot. They ran harder, they hit harder, and therefore the ground that they made was significantly better.
OK, what does the Castleford Tigers captain Michael Shenton, never minces his words, what does he make of that performance? He spoke to Angela.
Michael, a very disappointing night for you, and it must have been so frustrating out on the field where nothing you touched seemed to stick.
Yeah, well, I'm going to blame ourselves for that. It was an all-round disappointing performance. We're just gifting opportunities to teams at the moment, and I think we found out tonight that when you do that against the best team as clinical as Saints are, they just took every opportunity tonight, and they're ruthless, absolutely ruthless, and we got everything we deserved. I think our attitude was poor. Attention to detail, just energy, they just out infused us. Their attitude was better than ours, so no, really disappointed.
It's probably a bit early to ask you this question, but there was mention in pre-match, in the previews of the week, that maybe big game mentality is something you've got to be working on. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we spoke about that, and they came with that tonight, and unfortunately we didn't match it, so they just give it to us. So now we need to regroup fast. Obviously, another short turnaround. Big game against Leeds coming up, but yeah, we have to dig into that one and go through it. Look what they did to us. Credit to Saints. There's not much more I can say about that. It's just a disappointing night for us, poor, real poor.
The thing is, a lot of teams are going to come up against Saints and come up against that sort of performance as well. They are white hot at the moment.
Oh yeah, I don't really care about them though, to be honest. But we know the benchmark now. We know what that is, so we've got a long way to go to reach it, but we're more than capable of it. I look across our squad and the players in it, and there's some real quality in there. But we've got to find another couple of gears there to match that, and that's what we've got to start aiming for. And,
did you feel there was anything better in that second half after a disappointing first half, and your coach looked really angry as he was walking across the pitch before half-time?
Yeah, well, obviously we're angry at ourselves. It's disappointment in there. There's obviously bits in there that, obviously, the bits of quality, but if you don't back it up and go set for set with a team like that, and you gift them opportunities, and you haven't got the attitude to hold them out when they're challenging your line, a bit like Saints did to us. They defended us pretty well and kept turning up. Unfortunately, we're leaking too many soft tries as well, giving too many soft errors, too many soft tries. So now all seems doom and gloom at the minute, but we're good at bouncing back. We have got resilience in this team, and I believe in them. So now we'll bounce back, in a massive game for us next week.
Thanks very much for your time.
You.
Cheers, Michael.
Yes, and the season just 7 games old. You will expect a response from the Castleford Tigers. It did look ominous for them tonight from the 4th minute when Lachlan Coote crossed. Of course, converted his own try and tagged on a penalty shortly afterwards to give the visitors a 8-point lead. And we can hear from the man who has slotted seamlessly into the full-back position for St Helens. John, over to you.
Cheers, Brian. Lachlan, thanks for joining us. Your debut at the touchscreen, we were just chatting off how you'd settled in the UK. So I'm going to forego all that because I know the answers to that. Yeah. It's all good. He's enjoying it, by the way. First question. That was a very accomplished, competent, composed, surgical performance to keep you 7 out of 7.
Yeah, mate. Can't fault our efforts in D, and that's probably the main thing we've been focusing on this early part of the season. So I can't fault the boys' effort. Looking at the back there, it's just unbelievable to watch them making those efforts on efforts, and that's what's winning us games at the moment.
Give us an indication before I go to the first clip of the level of detail that goes into a start to the season like we're witnessing from St Helens this year, because that we all know it doesn't happen by accident. This is a long progression that starts back in October, November last year, but just an idea of what goes into that.
Yeah, well, it's always at the start of the year. It's always hard to get your attack spot on, and especially after the new spine that we've got at the moment, with myself slotting in and getting used to the structures and all that kind of stuff. But the main focus, like I said, was mainly our defence, and that's what we've been really hard working in the off season, and I think it's paying off for us at the moment. And slowly our attack's building. We're looking sharper and sharper each week, and then I can't fault what Tio and Johnny Lomax are doing there.
That would be a worry for everybody listening, that the attack's just sharpening up now after what you've just done to the Tigers. I'll take you to the first clip. It's Regan Grace's try. It's directly off the scrum. Break this down for me. We've seen this a couple of times now. You're stacking the left-hand side. I guess the first thing is a decision for the opposition. You put nobody over here.
Yeah, no one there. We try and get everyone obviously with the leads, but starts with obviously Johnny Lomax standing real wide there, and we obviously wanting him to get to the B defender, and then which that leaves me at the back. If we get a nice strong lead there on C.
Yep. So you've identified C. This is the B defender that we're talking about here, and that's essentially where Johnny Lomax needs to get.
Yeah, he wants
creates the natural advantage.
Natural advantage, and then obviously that if that works out well, then I get to 3-man there, and then if you can just pause it there. Obviously, I just wanted, and then we've still got obviously 4 outside, so I just got to tie up 3-man here, and it speaks for itself. Get the ball to Regan Grace as much space as he can, and he's hard to stop.
It's the speed of travel.